truck, and then I.
Much better.
Does that cover up half the ugliness?
better.
Now,
Okay,
now
that's
we
half the ugliness
recognize
under
it.
control.
Much better.
Still doesn't muffle a mouth. All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order. This time, I'd like to turn over the election of committee chairs for 2021 to Mr. Wayne Adams, County Administrator.
Mr. Chairman, the floor is open for nominations for the position of chair for this committee.
I nominate Buddy Livingston.
Are there any other nominations? Okay, is there a motion that his nomination be accepted by acclamation?
Yes, I make a motion that the nomination come to a close.
Second? All in favor? Mr. Chairman?
Thank you all. Appreciate the opportunity to serve as Chair of the Economic Development Committee, and look forward to working with all of you on it. This is one of the ones that does make a difference in the future of our county, as everyone does, but this one is really important for jobs and future development. All right, with that being said, are there any additions or deletions to the agenda for item number 3? If not, do we have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented? Motion by Mr. Scurry, second by Mr. Reader. All in favor? It is unanimous. All right, approval of the December 7th, 2020 meetings. I'm assuming everyone has had time to read over the 2020 minutes?
Yes.
All right, do we have a motion to approve them as presented? Motion by Mr. Shealy, second by Mr. Reader. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous. All right, staff report, project updates.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it. I apologize that I just realized I have the wrong presentation here. But I've gone through it very well, so I know what's going on here. Project activity last quarter was pretty steady. We had 3 new projects and projects: Atlantic, Speed Racer, and Echo. We'll talk more about these in executive session under the exception to allow us to discuss economic development matters in private. Next up was the product development, the Newberry South Industrial Site. Let me see what I have, and I apologize. This was the first presentation I did. I've since updated that. Would you please? I had last year's presentation on the same thumb drive. Thank you, Taylor. Under product development, first up is Newberry South Industrial Site. I know we have some new faces up there on the committee. So this is a site that came online late last spring, early last summer. We have developed the site in a partnership with Duke Energy. We now control the site, thanks to Mr. Adams and administration for making that happen. The due diligence is all complete, and it was all good stuff. There are no fatal flaws that we discovered in researching this site. We have submitted, and this has been cleared. It's now called a Palmetto Site. You might remember the old state certification where a site could be certified. Palmetto Sites is the new equivalent of that. So this is effectively a certified site by the state. And both Duke and I are currently marketing this site. So, one of the things I really love about partnering with Duke is they have a worldwide economic development recruiting program. So my hope is they'll bring us, a nice prospect in the future to market this site to. Under product development, there's Mid-Carolina Commerce Park, the original Mid-Carolina Commerce Park Phase 2. This is the project in which we're going to cross the creek, build some new road, and bring all of that stuff in red to the west of the creek. That's going to come online when this project is done, probably by this time next year. Certainly hope so. But this will give us 7 or 8 new sites and up to a couple of hundred acres of existing property to develop. Now, one of the things about this site, it's not particularly conducive to very large footprints. So we've been working on other sites where we can actually site 1 million square foot or more, which is a huge building, absolutely. But if 1 million square foot, building wants to come to your community, you got to have that site for them. So we've been working really hard to make that happen. This is a schematic. It shows the different phases of this. You see the yellow phase there. That's the part that, the red phase. That gets the road extended. The yellow phase gets the road and a bridge across the creek. And then we're going to do half of that green phase, which is to put an asphalt road with all the water and sewer up to about halfway there. And that'll open up most of those sites to development. We'll probably do a dirt road or crusher run road beyond that. But that'll allow us to get over there and physically show these properties to prospects. And this is really important because the vast majority of your projects are not going to be those 1 million square foot guys. The vast majority are going to be guys looking for 50 to 75,000 square feet. And those are your bread and butter projects too. So we got to have somewhere for those guys to go as well. And this should serve that quite well. This shows the different size buildings you could get on this site at maximum build out. It is quite a project and it's ongoing. And I'm thankful that we're doing this. Now let's talk about Mid-Carolina Commerce Park 2. The closing on that should take place this week, perhaps. We've been studying this property for quite some time, and all due diligence is complete, and it's all good. The 2 projects are looking at this both in late stages. I can't discuss those in open session, but I'll tell you more in executive session about these 2 projects. So even though we haven't quite completely signed the ink on this, we've already got moving projects on this site. And this is one of the sites that can host the 1 million square foot building. This schematic, or this concept shows 300,000 square foot buildings, which is probably, a more likely scenario than this, the 1 million square foot building. But if that 1 million square foot need does come down the pike, we're ready for it. So very, very thankful that we have this new property. Thankful to Mr. Adams and administration for making that happen. This I want to show you. It's a brief 4-minute video. Last year, the state of South Carolina came to us and said, we will pay for up to 5 drone videos because the state knows they're expensive and the smaller counties, can't afford to do them. And so they created, so we did 5 sites last year, but when we were doing this, we weren't working on MCCP2 when I had to submit those 5 sites. So it started looking like MCCP2 was going to be a real thing, and I asked Central SC Alliance if they would help me with this video. And they did this at their own expense, and I'm very grateful to have this video. Would you please play that video? It's very short, like 4 minutes. I apologize for the music. It was the best track they had available.
Very good.
Obviously, proximity to airports is huge to corporate executives. thank y'all for indulging me on that. Really proud of these things. We've got 5 of them now, and we'll be doing more as we, it's pretty much a necessity nowadays, especially in the area where there's a lot less travel and a lot more digital business being done. Can you go back to the presentation, please, Taylor?
This is Les. I'm sorry, I was a little bit late getting on, but I have no video of anything going on in the meeting. Taylor, is it something you can do about making the meeting physical for me?
Yes, sir. Give me 1 second.
I have it now.
Okay.
All right, well. There we go. Also under prospect development, SC Biz Magazine, which is a statewide business magazine, of course, is doing a county spotlight this month. They do about 6 or 8 of these a year. It's not an every month feature, but they tend to focus on counties where a lot of stuff is happening. So we're grateful that we caught their eye, and they believe that this was a worthy project. So that story, it's an 8-page feature in SC Biz, should be coming out any day. It was supposed to come out last week, but it's been delayed. On other, we have the Central SC Invoices. Now, Central SC, of course, is paid for through 4 quarterly payments of $18,000 each, or $72,000 a year. We didn't have an invoice at the December meeting. That's correct. So we actually have 2 for those. Do you know the time periods?
Yeah, the one that would have been at the December meeting would have been January, February, March, and then the second one is April, May, June, because normally we pay, you know, at the beginning of the quarter.
A quarter in advance.
But
yes.
last time we didn't receive the invoice from them until a couple days after we had a committee meeting.
So with that, I'd like to ask the committee to consider approving to send these invoices to the full council for approval.
Do we have a motion to approve the invoices for Central SE? Motion by Mr. Shealy, second by Mr. Scurry. Any discussion? All in favor? Mr. Hipp? Mr. Hipp, are you there? Hello?
Yes, buddy, I just indicated I'm not a voting member of the committee, but I don't have.
Oh,
any
that's right, I'm
objections.
sorry, that's right, I'm sorry, you're cool. All right, so,
Jim McMurray neither.
okay, so it's just, okay. All right, all in favor? It is unanimous by the committee.
We had conducted a drive-through job fair a couple of weeks ago. This is Piedmont Technical College, SC Works, and Newberry County Economic Development. It was an experimental thing because we just, Piedmont Tech will not allow us to host a traditional job fair because you have a lot of people clustered around, you know, tables and talking to people very close. So they thought this drive-through job fair would be a worthwhile thing. We ended up having just 21 cars in 2 hours, and about 30 job seekers were helped. But that's 30 people who got answers to their questions and who hooked up with companies that are hiring in this community. So I don't know if that number is conducive to us do it again. It might make more sense just to wait until things open up, but it was an interesting effort, and certainly done with the best intentions. And of course, our existing industry program is still ongoing. Some of it is in person. I let the industry decide whether they want a visitor, and if not, I just do a Zoom call with them. So, and of course, the existing industry contacts are a routine part of the office, and those are some of the companies we've met with in the last quarter. That exhausts my open session agenda, Mr. Chairman.
All right. All right.
Oh, I'm sorry. We amended the ordinance.
All right, and number 7. Discussion of ordinance 030621, an ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of a fee in lieu of tax incentive agreement by and between Newberry County, South Carolina, the county, and Newberry Electric Cooperative, acting for itself, one or more affiliates, and other project sponsors collectively. The company pursuant to the county shall covenant to accept certain negotiated fees in lieu of and ad valorem taxes with respect to the establishment and/or expansions of certain facilities in the county. The project. Number two, the benefits of a multi-county industrial business park to be made available to the company and the project. Three, certain special source revenue credits in connection with the project. And four, other matters relating thereto.
Mr. Chairman, we have Keith Avery with us tonight from the co-op, but I think Mr. Shealy has something to say.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to recuse myself from any discussion or anything concerning this matter as I work for the cooperative.
Okay, all right, thank you. Appreciate you, Nick.
I'll
That's
be outside till
all
you
right.
get me.
All right, we'll come get you.
Mr. Chairman, that's exactly the proper way to do that. If you have a potential conflict, Mr. Shealy's indicating to the public and to the committee that NEC is his employer. So it would be a conflict for him to even stay in the room to discuss this. So he's provided a form that he signed saying exactly that, and it's the right way to do it. Mr. Chairman, this, Keith, you can correct me if I'm wrong when you get up here, but this is a project that would do a couple of things. One, it's going to provide expanded broadband to some new areas of the county. I think that's about $7 million of it, $7.5 million. And another thing is to, if it's needed, would provide for a substation at the new Mid-Carolina Commerce Park 2 that council will be buying this week. That's if it's needed. The benefit would be limited to those items that are listed in the scope that I emailed council today, and also we gave you a copy of, and also limited in amount to about $14.5 million. Co-op is asking that with these investments, they receive a fee in lieu of taxes, which would give them a 6% assessment ratio rather than a 10.5% assessment ratio. And also on top of that, a further reduction of 20% of the tax liability, which comes in the form of what's called a special source revenue credit. These are common for council to give to an economic development projects. This is somewhat new, but certainly not out of bounds. But Keith wants to, I think, Keith, you've written a haiku about this, and you want to read that to us?
I just talk about it.
Okay, you can just talk about it. Come on up here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, council, for entertaining this. This is something that is certainly something I was not even aware of that was available to us until I had a conversation and a presentation by Bernie Maybank, who some of y'all may know. He actually was head of the Department of Revenue on multiple occasions. And in doing that, we realized that this was a possibility provided council voted on it. What we're looking at doing is we develop a work plan. Typically it's a 3 to 5 year work plan. Our work plan this time actually without the broadband totaled somewhere in the neighborhood of $14 million. We pulled out of that just the amount that would be indicated that would be needed possibly from an economic development perspective along with the broadband. Like Mr. Adams said, the broadband itself come to $7.3 million, which includes bringing high-speed internet to the county in the form of the areas Trinity, Bush River, Long Lane, and Blair. We have already spent approximately $10 million that we didn't ask council for already in the other parts of the county. But this would get us into the rest of Newberry County. So it comes to $7,348,128.23. The majority of what the $14.4 million that we're asking for is for connections between the substations from a reliability standpoint for industrial customers to make sure that if I have my substations tied together, that I can always feed them one way or the other if we was to lose feed, which is a key selling point for industries coming in today. In addition to that, 4 million, like Mr. Adams said, is for the potential of a substation to go to what we call in Mid-Carolina Part 2. That may not happen. It depends on the load that goes in there, the type of load that goes in there, and the size of the load that goes in there. Either way, we want to make sure that as new industry comes into Newberry County, that we're capable of providing them what they need. In meeting with one of the projects the other day, I actually made a statement to him. He was worried about the power. I said, you don't worry about power. That's my job. You just tell me what you need. We'll make sure you have it. And this is part of that process. So that is why we're requesting the tax in lieu of from the county to make sure that we can handle that. As you can well understand, our broadband project, the total project's $22 million. And right now, we're only asking for the 7.3 above what we've already spent. That is expensive. That is definitely needed in Newberry County, and that is a key economic development driver to make sure that that is available for industry. And I'm available to answer any questions that y'all may have.
All right, any questions of Mr. Agger?
Either I did very well or very poorly.
You did very well, because I heard "I" a lot of times in that statement, and that means that anything that comes up as a shortcoming, you got it covered, right?
Let me tell you, those letters behind my name, CEO, stand for blame officer. It goes wrong, I'm blamed, so. No, it's we, it's not I. It takes a whole team for us to do this, yeah.
Just joking with you, my friend.
Yeah.
All right, what are the wishes of council?
I make a motion that we accept the recommendation
Ordinance.
as a committee and
Yes, and
take it
take it
before
as council.
council.
Second? All right, all in favor? It is unanimous, we'll take it before whole council.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes.
See, he thought I needed him.
Keith, I will say this, the Carolina Connect is the biggest hit in Newberry County.
Yes. Did I understand this
Absolutely.
would have it for all the county? Will this,
Yes, ma'am, we're gonna be doing the entire county.
will
Is it the entire county or the entire service area?
Entire service area, but we have branched out into 9 service areas, and that is being done by grants.
Okay.
Okay,
If we able to get a grant, we go into our 9 service
okay, because I've
areas. Or
got,
if they want to pay for it, so.
Well, I will say that
It's such a case, Ms. Everett, subdivision pay for it.
I've heard more positive, I don't know that I've heard a negative comment about Carolina Connect yet.
I've actually been getting phone calls about.
So, just,
Yeah.
you know, in the midst of a lot of times when you hear so much negative stuff in this whole world, just want to say thank you, and providing that service out to our citizens of this county. All right. All right, at this point, comments and discussion items from council members, committee members.
No.
Any comments? Any comments? Any comments? I don't have any. We have a need for executive session, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, do we have a motion to go into executive session? Motion by Mr. Shealy, second by Mr. Reader. All in favor? It is unanimous. We are going into executive session. Discussion of fact of matters answered to proposed contractual arrangements and related to the proposed location expansions or provisions of services encouraging location or expansion of industries or other businesses in the area served by the public body, including Project Spectrum, Project Powder, SAM2, and planned local expansions. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
stated purpose and took no action in that executive session.
Okay, is anybody outside wanting to come back in?
Did you go check and make sure that nobody signed up for that sheet?
Make sure nobody signed up, I don't think.
Ms. Kara's gonna check and make sure, but we don't believe anyone signed up to speak.
Seriously, this is some of the most exciting times we've had.
I expect 2021.
Not even interested.
Yes.
I expect this
And
year
no-
to
no-
be
No inventory.
a robust year, because a lot of things were delayed last year. Everybody suffered the COVID depression or whatever it was, where just project flow just dipped like that. Started coming back up last fall, and it did for us. But I'm expecting 2021, as things become clearer and people see that maybe there is, you know, a light at the end of this COVID tunnel, that the floodgates will open. We'll have even more project activity this summer and fall.
Les, I know you're not on the committee. Any comments?
No, I would have one question, I guess, for Rick. What is our current unemployment rate in the county?
It's about 3%. I haven't actually checked it lately, but our unemployment rate in Newberry County does what it always does. It tracks the state, but we're always a point or two lower. So when COVID spiked, I think we went up to about 8%, and last I heard, we were down at like 3.2 or something like that. Now that data point might be a month or two old, but it's going to be somewhere in that area. So we're back at full employment effectively.
And the reason I asked that question, one of the projects you discussed, and of course I can't go into any details because we were in an executive session.
Yes, sir.
But when we're at our current unemployment rate, average job wages do come into play, and we need to make sure we don't bring industry in that's going to drag our per capita income down instead of raise it, especially when we're in a low unemployment time.
Understood, sir.
We're looking really good. Thanks for your comments. Les, palm trees are blowing mighty hard behind your head. Why is your hair not blowing? Did I lose you there, Les?
Well, it's property values on Harrington right now due to the condition.
That must be in his backyard.
It must be in the backyard. All right. Anyway, with that being said, do we have a motion to adjourn? Motion second. All in favor? It's unanimous. All right, we are adjourned. Thank
you
you.
all.